Welcome back to Morning After, everyone. It is 10:15. We are so glad to have Celeste Headlee joining us from Washington, D.C. She's an award-winning journalist, a public speaker, a best-selling author, and her latest book is called Speaking of Race, and it really addresses some of the issues that arise out of conversations related to race, especially in this last year or two with the Black Lives Matter movement and so many other conversations that can be difficult. And Celeste is joining us now to talk about it. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you as well.
All right, so when it comes to issues of race, we said early on last summer, I lose track of time, but it was last summer, we said it's important to have difficult conversations, right, about race. Matthew McConaughey was out with that very poignant YouTube video. Does that still hold true, or are we setting ourselves up to find ourselves angry and upset over somebody who doesn't share our point of view?
If the point of your if you go into a conversation hoping to change someone's mind, then you're going to end up angry and upset. But you are correct that we really need to stop avoiding these conversations. The more that we avoid them, the easier it is to turn those who disagree with you into somebody other, into somebody very different. And as human beings, we don't trust people who belong to another tribe. We are a relatively tribal species. And so we need to make sure that we're humanizing those around us by engaging those conversations, learning the skills that we need to learn in order to not argue when we disagree.
You know, and I love that point you say before you start the conversation that may be difficult. What is your goal? And if there really is no point in it, why even go there? Is it okay to abstain from it, A? And if you're asked a question you don't want to engage with because it's not the appropriate place, is it okay to find a way not to engage?
The short answer is yes. If you're not in the emotional space to have that conversation, it's okay to not have it. If you're not in an appropriate location, that's also okay. But we tend to use those excuses all the time in order to avoid these conversations. And it's not okay to avoid them all the time. Yeah. Because avoiding these conversations is what we've done for generations. And look where we are. That's not solving the problem. If that solved the problem, we wouldn't be here. Yeah,
that's absolutely true. I mean, open communication and understanding somebody's experience. Like, it's not my place to deny you your experience and your emotional reaction to it. And I find when people get into those conversations, it's just not respectful of our humanity.
Yeah, and if you're in a conversation with someone who is disrespecting you, not letting you talk, maybe even verbally abusing you, absolutely walk away. But those are relatively rare. Most of the conversations about race that you're going to get into are with people that either in your family, your friends, your coworkers, people that you know relatively well. And it's possible to have conversations with those people without arguing.
Well, let me set this up though for you. I was at a Friendsgiving event and there were people there I'd never met before who know what I do and from out of town, and they said, "Oh, I understand you're in the news business. I'm curious to know, what do you think of Kyle Rittenhouse?" Red flag, red flag, red flag. I don't know who you are. I have very sort of a complicated response to any questions related to that. And when I heard something like, because when I saw him on Tucker, I feel this way, I was like, I'm not engaging with this person. I said, you know, I don't really talk about work outside of work, and I don't know enough about it to form an opinion, when the truth is I do have an opinion. Was that an okay response?
That's an okay response. Here's what I probably would have said. I would have said, you know, this is a sensitive subject. This is something that people are getting in arguments all over the country. I'm wondering why you ask me about that.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And
why is it important to you? Is that it's
exactly. Yeah. Why is this important to me? We're just meeting. Wow, there's a danger here of getting into an argument with a stranger, so I want to tread lightly here. Why are you bringing this up? What makes this so important to you? Why is this significant? And dig into this, because it's possible they're bringing it up because they're the kind of person that wants to get into a fight, but it's also possible that they're trying to find a kindred spirit.
And therein lies the real crux, or I want to say the real dilemma. What is their intention? And a complete stranger, you can't read that. It's really hard. Some people maybe are better at it than others. But like Eckhart Tolle says, right, in in A New Earth, he says, some people are just looking to pick a fight.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
right. And you can distinguish that by just asking. Rather than trying to figure it out or avoiding the subject completely, you can just ask, hey, did you want to get into an argument? And it can become funny. I mean, I've asked that very thing. Oh, did you bring that up because you feel you're spoiling for a fight here? And in which case, if it's clear, I establish right away whether we're going to agree or not, I will immediately say, we're not going to agree on this. I don't want to argue with that. I'd love to talk to you about it, but if we start getting into a fight, maybe we can change the subject. Is that okay?
Yeah, what's your favorite color? Just change
Right.
the Or what are you doing for the holidays? Are you traveling? It's so
Exactly.
interesting how the title of your book, it's speaking of race, but it's not just about that. Once you start that conversation, it opens up conversations about so many things that we're all dealing with in our social culture right now. And we appreciate you being here, Celeste. We want to send people to your website, CelesteHeadley.com. She's also on social media. The book, again, is Speaking of Race.